Alright, so if you don't happen to have a Wacom tablet as I do, I'm sorry. Trust me, they're a lot of fun to play with. So what I'm going to do is take my pen, and these areas that it looks like it's going to be a little more difficult to keep from bleeding over, go ahead and paint a little bit first, and that should hopefully stop the bleeding over into the face, which it did. Yay. Now for, go back over to here. Actually, that can happen. Thank goodness for that. Alright. Oh, well, it looks like that is not going to work. Alright, now for over here, as you can tell, there are a few areas that it just decided it just wanted to go ahead and bleed through the face. So, taking my dropper again, I'm going to take the color that I used for the face and just start painting it back in. I have to do a blend on this, so I'll start with one color and kind of blend in with another rather than make it all the same, because otherwise it'll look a little like I used a computer to touch it up like I'm doing. So another option that I can do is I can actually choose a clone that area if I wanted to, and Alt click, and then start painting it from there. Oops, edit, undo. Edit, undo. A little too far over. That's one option. Option number two is to simply just keep going over it with your various colors to blend it in. And I think that's going to work for me for now. For the wings, typically this part right here I had white, so I want to make sure that when I clone that area, I pick a wider section to clone. This looks like it's going to be a little more gray, which is fine. I think I'm going to go with maybe here. There. Perfect. And then use that and just kind of gently brush it in so that it looks like it still has a little bit of texture, even though it'll be the background color. It won't be as noticeable once you print it out. Go ahead and clone my color that I want to use for the chips. Start blending that back in now. Whoops. Right. Now, looks like I need to do the same thing on... First things first is I'm going to take my roll of fabric, printable fabric basically, and I am going to cut off a piece. I only need it to be about 4.5 inches, but just to be on the safe side, I am going to print it, or I'm going to cut it at about 5 inches. So, next, take it over to the printer. Place my fabric in here. So that'll be the first thing that comes out. And print. And I think what we want to do is we do want to make sure that it is set to print as basically as a photo. You don't want it to print, you know, a crappy quality or anything. So make sure it's set for photo. And let's not too worried about any of this fun stuff. Let's just pretend like it's plain paper. And print. It's been a while since I printed anything, so it's going to take a second to warm up. Good night, look how dusty that is. Okay, so finally got it to start printing. I kind of forgot to add a few features to it, you know, like saying what size the actual paper was. That helps. And so with that printed, now it's time to wait, and I believe we're going to have to wait probably about 15 minutes is a good time to do so. So in the meantime, I'm going to go get another cup of coffee. James Dean is so hot. Alright, so the next step is to take our fabric and peel off the paper backing. That. And it's still going to have some sticky residue. Don't worry too much about that. I'll show you what we can do with that. So, for the next step, what we want to do is we want to rinse it under cold water just for a few seconds. And what this does is if there's any color that wants to bleed through, which depending on your printer, that can happen. Clears off any of that excess. Alright. Now we just grab a towel and dry it off. So any towel will work, but personally I like to use one that I don't really give a shit about. Just in case any of that color did decide to bleed onto it. And just keep pressing till it's dry, or just let it air dry. Also fine. You don't really have to do this step if it's, you know, something that you're not really too worried about, or if your colors that you're using on your quilt are not necessarily going to bleed a whole lot, because it doesn't really bleed all that much. But it says to do so in the instructions. So that's why I'm doing it. For you anyway. I didn't do it with my first batch. Ew. That's disgusting. Alright, so I'm going to iron out some of the wrinkles now. And what I've done is, just in case, yet again, it decides to bleed, put a piece of paper underneath it. Should be fine, but be nice to know if it's going to drip anything out, which it's not, so throw that out. And it is still a little wet, so I've got a towel under it to ease the excess moisture off as I am ironing it. Alright. And there you have it. Fabric that you can print yourself. Alright, so I thought maybe you'd want to know what type of fabric I used to print my image. So, looks like, I have no idea what the brand of this is. It's got Crafter's Image on it, Computer Crafting at Home, Blumenthal Craft. Basically, it's photo fabric that I got at Joann's. Cotton poplin, 100% cotton, by the way. It's a 120-inch roll. And I never pay full price for anything, so I got this with a 50% off coupon. I also got a cotton twill, and same basic thing, it's just a lot thicker. Obviously it's twill, so more like stuff that you would use for, I don't know. I'm really not sure where I'm going with this, but anyway, it's thicker, probably not going to use it for a quilt. Poplin, perfect quilting weight. So, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope that you also will feel free to make your own fabric at home. It's a lot of fun to play with stuff on the computer, getting everything tweaked just right, and then printing it out and using it in your quilt projects. So, happy quilting!